Hello, this is Japanese Economic Review Channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most important signals for Japan's economy, the Machinery Orders Report. The brand new data for December 2025 has just been released by the Cabinet Office, and wow, it gives us some really interesting clues about where business investment is heading.
It's a huge question, right? But economists and analysts, well, they're always on the hunt for clues, for signals that can give us a hint of what's just around the corner. They look for something they call leading indicators. And when it comes to those leading indicators, machinery orders are one of the best. Seriously, think of it like a crystal ball for business investment. It's giving us a sneak peek at what companies are planning to spend on new equipment and expansion, maybe 6 to 9 months down the line. It's a fantastic measure of corporate competence. So, because it gives us this forward-looking view, the Machinery Orders Report is an absolutely vital piece of the economic puzzle. It really helps us get a feel for the underlying strength and, the sentiment in the corporate sector. And boy, the headline from this latest report is a big one. After a bit of a concerning drop in the previous month, it looks like business investment intentions came roaring back to finish the year on a really, really strong note. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to break down the numbers, focusing on the seasonally adjusted month-on-month data that comes directly from the Cabinet Office's official report for December 2025. Okay, first up, total machinery orders. They surged by a massive 23.8% from November. Wow, a jump that big immediately tells you something significant happened this month. And when we drill down and look specifically at private sector demand, which is really the engine of business activity, the picture gets even brighter. That was up an incredible 25.8%. But this is the number that analysts really zero in on. We call them core orders. They exclude some of the really volatile stuff, like orders for ships and from electric power companies. This is our best gauge of underlying spending plans. And it jumped 19.1%. After that dip we saw in November, a rebound of this size? That's a very, very decisive signal. So where did all this impressive growth actually come from? Let's break down that core number to see which parts of the economy were really driving this investment. This table really shows just how broad the recovery was. Look at the manufacturing sector. It put in a powerhouse performance, up over 25%. But crucially, this wasn't just a factory story. The non-manufacturing sector also posted a really solid 8.2% gain. Then you see government and foreign demand are also up. It all paints a picture of really comprehensive economy-wide strength. Numbers tell part of the story, but sometimes a chart can really put things into perspective. Let's visualize the trend so we can see just how significant these December figures really are. Okay, here we have the chart for private sector orders straight from the report. If you look all the way to the right, you just can't miss it. That dramatic spike at the very end of 2025. That's the powerful December rebound we've been talking about. It really stands out, especially after that little dip in the month before. And just to show you this wasn't some kind of one-month fluke, the report also highlights the data for the entire fourth quarter. Core private sector orders grew by 7.9% for that whole October to December period compared to the previous quarter. So that confirms a pretty solid trend of recovery to close out the year. So what's the big picture here? What does this all mean when we put it together? Let's summarize the key takeaways for Japan's economic outlook. Well, the key takeaway is crystal clear. 2025 ended with a powerful rebound in business confidence. The growth was widespread, touching both the factory floor and the service sector. This tells us that Japanese companies are feeling optimistic enough to open up their wallets and start planning big investments again. And that is a very positive signal for the economy as we head into the new year. And that really leaves us with the big question. This report gives us a fantastic snapshot of strong business intentions as we closed out last year. But will this momentum carry over into 2026? Now that's the story we'll all be watching in the months ahead. Thank you for watching the Japanese Economic Review. We look forward to having you with us again.